Alright, so now I'm going to get into cleaning. So to clean parts, you're basically going to first need to disassemble your model kit. As you can see, I've already done. And basically you need like a tub, something that you can ideally get wet and fit all the kit's parts into. Now I use two products to clean my kit parts. The first is OxyClean, and the other is just good old-fashioned dishwashing soap. Now you may wonder why I use two. I do it mainly just for overkill. I know it's a little bit on the overkill, but it's better to have the parts too clean than not clean enough. So, basically, but the OxyClean, basically take one scoop, dump it in, and then with the dishwasher soap, you just pour in just a little bit, because this stuff's pretty strong. Yeah, then you just fill the tub with water, and get it filled to the point where all the parts are more or less submerged. They will want to float, but you just need to put in enough water for it to get all the parts submerged. And then you want to just give it a good stir. And you can generally tell when it's done by there's not going to be so much particulate matter left from the OxyClean. So just give it a good couple stirs, and then once it looks pretty foggy, once it gets to that point, it's just about there. And yeah, so what you're going to want to do now is basically let this sit overnight and then come back to it the next day. Alright, now the parts have had a while to sit in the wash solution, so now next step is to take a brush and clean them off. You want to use a clean brush for this, so you probably will want to just set aside a specific toothbrush just for this job. Now the main goal you want to do here is try and scrub off much as you can off the parts, as you want to get as much of any remaining dust and mold release agents off of them. This step isn't as critical for plastic parts and kits. However, this step is in a lot of ways essential for resin kits. Now, after you rinsed it off, you just want to give it another quick dip in your wash solution, and then just rinse it off. And you want to make sure you completely rinse it, as any leftover soap or anything will make painting the part next to impossible, even with primer. So you want to be a little excessive in the rinse part. Alright, and just want to set it aside, and basically continue doing this for all of the remaining parts, especially any parts that you've had to fill, as those will probably have the most dust contamination. Now at this point, again, as you can see here, our filled part does look pretty well done, but we can't be 100% sure until after we prime, as one of the things that priming does is shows you where any remaining imperfections are, so you can then refill in those areas, or technically touch-up fill. Alright. Again, you want to make sure you completely rinse, because if you don't, bad things will happen. Now, one thing you do want to be careful of is small parts. As during this stage, they can easily get lost. My biggest piece of advice is to probably save all those parts for last, and then just sort of very carefully just rinse them off, as you most of the time you don't really need to scrub those. Now, even more ideal than what I'm doing here would be if you had a strainer that you can use, as then you can just basically scrub all parts, stick them in the strainer, and then just rinse everything all at once. Because unfortunately, I don't have one that I can use for that, so I'm stuck just having to do them one by one. As I said, this step isn't super critical for plastic parts, but you do want to ideally clean any kits you get beforehand. It is possible to just go ahead and paint in most cases, but again, this is what you want to do ideally. Also want to make sure when you do wash parts that, especially parts that you used the petroleum jelly on, you want to give them an extra scrubbing just to be on the safe side. And see if I can get this face plate off right there. There we go. Yeah. Sometimes, unfortunately, parts do require a little more. And ideally, you do want to remove that beforehand, but it's alright. Alright. Yeah. Looks like I'm just about out of time, so I'm going to stop here, and next time I'll come back and show you prep for painting.